So now it's time to apply this to tables. So we need to look at a table, figure out if it's linear or exponential, and then write the appropriate equation down below. Now remember, we're looking for adding and subtracting if it's going to be linear, and we're looking for multiplying or percent changes if it's exponential. So right here, it looks like and we're always looking at the y values to decide are we adding, subtracting, or multiplying over here. So it looks like plus 2, plus 2, plus 2. So if we're adding 2 every single time, it's going to be linear, and we need a y equals mx plus b. So I'm going to come over here and write a y equals some number with x plus b. Now we just said, looks like we were adding 2 every single time. Plus 2, plus 2, plus 2, plus 2. So we have our slope. And now when we need our y-intercept in a table, you find where x is 0, and that's our y-intercept. So it's just going to be plus 10 for this one. Once again, let's look at this table. Is it linear or exponential, and how do we know? Well, if I look at the patterns here, from 3 to 12 is an increase of 9. From 12 to 48 is an increase of 36. From 48 to, it's very clear that we're not adding the same number every single time. But it does look like we're multiplying by the same number. 3 times 4 is 12. 12 times 4 is 48. 48 times 4 is 192. So if we're multiplying, it's going to be exponential, and we need an equation that looks like this instead. So I'm going to come over here and y equals some number parentheses to the x. So I need my start, and I need what I'm multiplying by. Just like linear equations, you get the starting value where x is 0, so it's going to be 3. Then we're times 4 times 4 times 4. So it'll be y equals 3 times 4 to the x. Let's look at this one. Is it linear or exponential, and how do we know? Well, let's look at the pattern. From 12 to 24 is adding 12. From 24 to 48 is adding 24. From 48 to 96 is adding 48. So we're not adding the same number every single time. It does look like we're doubling it. 12 times 2 is 24, times 2 is 48, times 2 is 96. So if we're multiplying, it's exponential, and we need this type of an equation. You get the starting value where x is 0. So we're starting at 12 times 2 times 2 times 2. We're starting at 12 times 2 to the x. Let's look at this one. Is it linear or exponential, and how do we know? Well, let's check the change. It looks like here, this one is going down by 16, and then down again by 16, then down again by 16. It's a little harder to see, so you might want to check in your calculator to see what are we subtracting every time, but that is minus 16, minus 16, minus 16. So this is going to be linear, so we need a y equals mx plus b. Y equals mx plus b. We always get the y-intercept where x is 0, so the 75 will be b. And as we saw in the table, we are going minus 16, minus 16, minus 16. So we need a negative 16 with the x.